Hey there, I'm Miss Osuna, and this is Fashion Sketching with me, Miss Osuna. Let's jump right in and get started with our face that we will be creating from one of the faces that you already have, or just go to a past video and do the face that we have done here, then pick up where I am starting off. So as you can see, I have transferred the sketch to my marker paper and I'm taking the kneaded eraser to get rid of some of that lead so that it does not muddy my sketch. Here is a good time to mention that this past video that we created this face on was all about character. So I do tiny slight changes from left side to right side to make this feel more characterized. Now I'm using a camel color marker. You can use any color, but I'm just going to use one marker for this sketch. So here I am starting off on the left side. Typically that's where I start, and that is my shadow side. But this will be lit from the center and the left. So this is a more advanced technique. So just follow along, but you're gonna see here, you want to place the color initially underneath the eye, above the eye, down the cheek, and then down to the chin. Always starting on your shadow side. Then you'll go to the bridge of the nose, and then the lips and the neck. So just follow along and enjoy. Now that you have most of the color laid into most of our places, I'm going to go on ahead and move in a left-right motion so that I can start to create the feeling of depth. So give it a second here and we will move our marker from left to right. So here, as you can see, I'm going in a left-right motion by the bridge of the nose, sort of up and down and left and right. And this is going to start to spread that color around the bridge of the nose and the center of the eye. Now what you want to notice is I'm going to leave a bit of light on the balls of the cheek. So the rounds of the cheek will feel like there's light bouncing off of it. There will be more light bouncing off of the right side of the sketch and less light bouncing off of the left side of the sketch because, like I said, she's lit from the center and slightly the right. So it is much more advanced than our normal one location of lighting. So you can see here there's more light that we have left, meaning more white space on the right side, although both rounds of the cheeks are lit and the chin is lit at the center, but then there's more light on the right side by the chin, and you'll see that carried throughout the entire sketch. You can see here above the eyebrow, we are giving much more white space. That just means paper that's not colored on the right side and at the center. So it's very subtle, but the right side of the forehead, the right side of the cheek, and the right side of the chin will be slightly more white or light space than the left. First time around with our camel marker, and then of course remember when you do your colorless blender, which is next, always start off by cleaning it. So scribble it on the side of some extra paper that has to be marker paper, and then start blending in your color with that blender. So let's go on ahead and get started. We're simply going to start on the shadow side and pick up the color and then push it towards the center, but we still do want to leave white at the center of the forehead, the cheeks, the chin, and the neck. So just simply continue blending this color so that there is less of a hard circle on the spaces where everything is white. You just want that to be a very soft circle that gently flows from being very colored in to less colored in, and then toward the center of each circle, even less colored in. So that transition should be quite gradual. Then of course, once again, clean off your colorless blender. Otherwise, the color that you've picked up will get locked into your blender permanently. So now that we've done that, it's time to move to our colored pencil. And I'm gonna pick a colored pencil that's similar in color, but a tiny bit darker. And now we're just gonna touch our edges, starting of course, from the left side, which is our shadow side. So I'm just dealing with our eye, and you'll see we'll just continue moving with this color pencil very gently to start pulling out our details. Remember, don't press too hard at all with the colored pencil. You are just using this to start to gather some darker darks so that we can have our contrast of darks, mediums, and lights. You guessed it, we are going to now blend on top of that colored pencil. So my blender has enough ink in it, and you want to make sure yours does as well, that it will soften the colored pencil. If your blender is too dry, it won't actually pick up the colored pencil very well. All right, so we are using the very same marker, but we're gonna do round 2. Same marker, but it's just gonna appear darker because there's already ink on the page. This time I'm using the fine point side so I can control my darker just a bit more. And when I say darker, it is the same marker, but it appears darker because the first layer of color already exists on our page. As you're touching up some of these details here with the fine point side of the same colored marker, remember to press very lightly, because this way you can control how much ink goes onto the page. So pressing very, very lightly, and then you can blend as needed. That I have my skin tone in a way that I like, I'm going to move on to the eye color. I've chosen a walnut brown, but of course any color you choose is just fine. So starting off with these parenthesis shapes in the center of the eye and on the edges to make the pupil and the iris. And once again, I've chosen a darker brown than the skin itself and press very, very lightly. I am using the brush tip for this particular technique, but I'm barely touching the page, because at the eye, you want to make sure that you can control very well the ink that you're putting down. Now be sure that as you add a little bit of this ink to your brow, that you are even gentler. So very subtle. Just barely touch the page with your tip of the brush point on your marker. Now I'm just going to soften the eye detail here with colored pencil right on top of it. Very, very soft. And what happens is you actually are smearing the ink that you've used for the lashes with the colored pencil. And that helps to give a softer effect. So you can see right now the left eye is feeling softer where the lashes are than the right eye. Until I apply that colored pencil to the right side, then it will appear softer as well. Something to note is that this particular video is showing the characterized face. So my right side of my eye is higher than the left side. And remember, we did a specific technique where the left side, right side is not super symmetrical. It's on purpose different. So go back to that last video if you want to draw this particular face with us. But once you have your details solidified with your colored pencil, go back to that same marker. And now we're going to do round 3. And this will appear even darker still. The reason I've chosen to do this technique is because I hear from students all the time that they do not have all 3 markers to make one color. So I've invented this technique where you can use 1 marker and a blender along with your colored pencils to create all 3 shades of dark, medium, and light. As you finish up the details, remember you want to darken above the eyebrow and then on the left side of the face and right side of the face. And then you want to darken the bridge of the nose, under the eye and at that eyelid. Then a tiny little bit under the nostril and the left and right side of the nostril. And then the chin and of course the neck. Once you finish that, it'll be time for your lip color. So any color will do. I am going to choose a natural color that is a terracotta. So it's a brownish reddish color. And now from the bottom of our top lip, I'm just doing parenthesis shapes upward. And then I'm also doing that at the top of our bottom lip. Now I'm going to go from the very bottom lip going upward. And you'll see these tiny parenthesis shapes are filling in little by little. Finally, then, of course, I will do the top lip going down. The idea here is that you just don't want to color in the entire lip just flat. You do want some of that white to be left on the page so that it feels like light bouncing off of the lip. As you continue to add more of these parenthesis shapes, so remember that top lip going down and then the bottom of the top lip going up, and then your bottom lip, you're starting from the bottom going up, and then the top of that bottom lip going down. Just continue to add more and more until you've taken away enough light that it feels like it's colored in, but you leave enough light so that it looks like light reflecting off of the lip. So now that I've used my marker, it's going to be time for me to fill in with my colored pencil. So I'm going to choose a peach color, but of course you can use any color that you've already started with that's just a slight tiny bit lighter. So now I'm going to do the same thing. So from the top of my bottom lip, I'm coming down, and the bottom of my bottom lip, I go up. And then do the same for your top lip. So at the top of your top lip, curve downward, and at the bottom of your top lip, curve upward. And you're just gonna push just enough of this color pencil onto the lip so that you can literally start to fill in and it won't feel so empty. Now I'm just gonna add a little bit more detail to my eye, and these are the final touches. So I'm darkening the right side of that eye and a little more of the brow, but you get to choose which details you are going to add for your final touches. Once you've done those final details, and as long as they're at your liking and your preference, then your next step is to take your blender and blend once again. And that blending is just to soften any of our transitional areas. So where it goes from dark to light, go on ahead and use your blender to soften those transitions. That's it for this tutorial. I really do hope you found it helpful. I definitely look forward to seeing your wonderful work in class, or you can hit me up on Instagram at Coriosuna. And until we meet again in our next video, happy sketching and please stay well.